My name is Anne, and some of you have been watching these videos about getting ready for Easter. So before we have our story today, let's just go over again the liturgical calendar and see where we are. We have different seasons in the Episcopal Church, and the beginning of the church year is Advent. We have 4 purple Sundays to get ready for Christmas. Then we have the Christmas season. Then after the Feast of the Epiphany, which is when the wise men got to Bethlehem, we have the Sundays after the Epiphany. They're green Sundays. And then we move on to Lent. And Lent is helping us get ready for the mystery of Easter. There's 6 Sundays in Lent. This one, even though it's red, is one of the Lenten Sundays. It's Palm Sunday, and we'll talk about that another day. So today is the 3rd Sunday of Lent, so we'll move the pointer. Now, last week we had 2 stories about Jesus when he was a child. The first was when he was a baby, and here's Mother Mary and Father Joseph, and they took very, very good care of the baby. And he grew up to be a boy. And when he was about 12 years old, the whole family, all the relatives, all the neighbors from Nazareth went to Jerusalem for one of the high holy days. And they had the celebration and they spent the night. And the next day, everybody was walking back home. It was a long journey. And Mary and Joseph thought that Jesus was up front with the kids playing, but then they discovered he was not. And they ran back to Jerusalem and hunted everywhere for him. And they found him in the temple, talking to the high priests and the scribes. And then he said the most amazing thing to them. He said, "Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house?" So those are the only 2 stories in the Bible about Jesus when he was a boy. And the next one we hear is when he's about 30 years old. And it's when he was baptized by John in the Jordan River. And we'll have that story in a minute. But I want to tell you a little bit about John. So there was this man named Zechariah, and he was married to Elizabeth. And they never had any children, even though they really wanted to, which made them sad. But now they were quite old. Too old, really, to have children. And Zechariah was a high priest in the temple. And one day when he was at the temple, the angel Gabriel came to him and said, "Zechariah, don't be afraid. I have some news for you. You and Elizabeth are going to have a son, and you will name him John." And it happened. They did have a baby, and they named him John. Well, Gabriel was the same angel you might remember who went to Mary when she was just a teenager and told her she was going to have the baby Jesus, the Son of God. Well, John grew up and he was a prophet, and he told people that the Messiah was coming and that they needed to prepare the way for the Lord. Now, he didn't know who the Messiah was going to be. He just knew what was going to happen. John lived in the wilderness. He wore really strange clothes. He wore this camel hair coat tied with a big leather belt, and he ate wild honey and locusts. John was baptizing people in the Jordan River, a lot of people. He wanted them to repent of their sins. And repent means to be sorry for something and then change the way you behave. So lots of people came to him to be baptized. Now, John and Jesus knew each other. They were cousins because Mary was related to Elizabeth, who was John's mother. Jesus came to the Jordan River, and John was out in the river. And Jesus waded out in the water until he was face to face with John. Now you can just see the back of John's head in this picture. John looked at Jesus as if it was for the very first time. Now he saw who he really was. "How can I baptize you?" said John. "You are the Messiah, the one we have been waiting for. No, you must baptize me." And Jesus said, "No, it was written that you will come before me and prepare the way. So baptize me." And Jesus went down to the dark chaos of the water. And when John lifted him back into the light, there were people there who said they saw a dove come down from heaven real close to Jesus. And there were people there that said they heard a voice, and the voice said, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him."